So the program is 9 months long
Okay.
or 3/4 long,
Oh.
depending on when you start.
Okay.
If you start in September, it's 9 months. If you were to start in January, you'd go January, which would be the winter quarter, then spring quarter. We don't have classes during the summer, and you'd come back and finish up in fall.
Oh.
So you'd always take 3/4. Okay?
How much is the course?
The tuition is based on the number of credits, so it's approximately $1,500 a quarter, so $1,500 a quarter. That's just an estimate, and because I cannot give you the exact amount, it just depends on what the tuition rate is at the time, but currently it's around $1,500
Yes, yes.
a quarter. Good questions. Who has another one?
How much are textbooks needed?
Right now, they're approximately $350 for the full year. About $350 for the whole year.
Are there any class fees?
There's no class fee.
What level can I take this course?
We recommend at least a level 5 or a strong finish with level 4. There's a lot of reading, a lot of writing, because you're going into an education course. So we want you to be successful. We have found that if there's a lower level of ESL coming in, the students struggle. We don't want you to struggle. We want you to have a strong foundation so that when you're ready to come into the program, you will be successful.
When I finish level 5,
Level 4?
okay, I can turn, before I need take one more test, and then.
We recommend that you take the compass test before you come in. However, that's not a barrier. We want you to take it just because it helps us to know where you're at. So we can help and make sure that you're going to be successful.
Thank
you. Is there a practicum?
There is a practicum class. Good question. You have to work with children 10 to 15 hours a week. The reason I say 10 to 15 hours is because if you get sick or your children are sick, we want to make sure that you put in enough hours so that you meet the requirements of the number of hours that you need to do. So we recommend kind of staying in between that 10 and 15 each week. I'll give you a good example. One of our students just called in and she's got strep throat, so she's sick. So she's going to miss her practicum. She missed it yesterday and she missed it today. So next week she'll do more hours to make sure that she has those number of hours. So anywhere between 10 and 15 hours of practicum.
What kind of job with this training?
Oh, good question. It depends on what you want to do. Teachers, teacher assistants, directors. There's also a job called program supervisor. All of those positions accept our students and encourage our students to apply for jobs. If you continue on and work on your 2-year degree, then you can work in the school system. The elementary schools, they're always looking for our students. But one of the requirements is that you have a 2-year degree. So we really recommend that you do the 2-year degree because then you go in as a paraeducator and work within the school system. And that's a very nice job to be able to have. And they want the students to have a good early childhood background. If you come into their job with a strong early childhood background, you're going to know what typical children's development is. So you can work with all the children that are in the program. So we really like to have you come in with a 2-year degree.
Is that 2 years plus this, or this part of the 2 years?
This is part of the 2 years.
Part of the 2 years. So this plus a year.
Plus a little bit more. So later on, when you're done, you can read through the packet that I gave you, and in the packet it explains the options for getting your 2-year degree. Okay? Good. Yeah, so this program is the first part, because you get your 1-year certificate or your certificate of completion, we call it, the 51 credits. Then we help you build on that to take additional credits to get your 2-year degree, or what's called the AAS degree, Associate of Applied Science. Yeah, you see, right there. Yep.
Can I get a job after the course is complete?
Yes. And I help you find jobs. Schools are always calling me, so I put announcements up on the board. Did you see the board out here in the hallway?
Yeah.
So I always put job announcements up on the board. Many of the students that are working second quarter and third quarter will get hired by their practicum because they have seen you work, or they've seen the student work while they're doing their volunteer work. And if you do a really good job, a lot of the centers want to hire you. So a lot of the students get hired second and third quarter, which is really exciting. You can get a job before you're done.
But it's necessary to train.
Yes.
It's necessary.
Our state requirements require that if you're going to be a teacher or an assistant teacher, you have to have some early childhood education classes, and this is what this will do for you.
Oh, okay.
If you want to open up your own family home care, then this, again, will give you those classes that are needed to do that.
Okay. When is the children with the special needs, because I'm here, is different training? Do you have different classes, or is the same with children's?
Early childhood education.
Children with the special needs is different classes?
We have 2 different classes for children, working with children with special needs.
Okay.
Because our school system wants us to have that type of a background, we do offer 2 different classes for you to have that experience.
Okay.
Many of those children are included into our regular school classrooms, even though they have special needs, which is what we want to see happen, because they learn better, they learn more. And so these classes will help you do that, to work effectively with all the children.
How many credits per class, and then get the certificate?
The certificate is 51 credits. That's the 1-year certificate. That's 51 credits. Your 2-year degree is 90 credits.
When I go to the school, or maybe daycare or kindergarten, the teachers or principal, they are ask me, do you have classes for children with special needs, or is normal? I need to take.
Most of the time, the directors and principals will ask you what kind of classes you've taken. So you'll be able to tell them the types of classes that you've taken.
Okay.
In your packet, I gave you a list of all the classes that we'll be teaching. So you'll be able to look at that. So I think it's on page, if you'll look on page, one more after that. There you go. So page 5?
Yeah.
Page 5 will give you a list of all the classes that you'll be taking while you're with us for the 9 months or the 3 quarters. So you will be able to answer that question pretty easily when the principal or the director asks you those questions. Okay, so yes, the classes are in there, and they're specified what they are, which classes you will be taking. You sound interested in working with children with special needs.
Yes, because I have my brother is with a special needs, and in my country is many discrimination for kids, but in this country is totally different. Yeah.
And that's what's very exciting about having a course like this, the early childhood education classes, because we'll teach you how to work with children from all different backgrounds. Not only children with special needs, but those who speak English as a second language, those from different cultural and ethnic backgrounds. So you're going to be learning about how to work with all children and all families.
Okay, thank you.
Since you're so interested in that, I can also help you learn about the school right around the corner. Do you know about Hillcrest
Okay.
Special Education Center?
Yes.
Hill-
Is the next, not the, where is
They're
it?
over on Index.
Okay.
Right over here. And Hillcrest has a program with 11 classrooms for children 3 years old to 5-year-olds. And they're classrooms with children with special needs and community children coming together for a preschool classroom. And it's very exciting. It's called an inclusive classroom. So children are learning about each other and learning how to work together and learning skills together. So it's a really good preschool program, and it runs 2 sessions. So they have morning sessions and afternoon sessions.
Okay.
And I have 4 students over there now. 3 of them got hired. So they are looking for teachers who want to work with children with special needs, teachers assistants, paraeducators. So if this is one of your interests, I can definitely help you with that and hook you up with the teachers and the directors so that if this is something you'd like to do, we can help you get into that system and learn about it.
Thank you so much.
I have another question. Is knowing Excel necessary for this course?
Learning which one?
Is knowing Excel necessary
Excel.
for Excel for this course?
No? Okay.
Is there finance? Auntie?
Yeah. Is there financial aid?
It's a finance.
Yes, there is financial aid available
Yeah.
for this program.
So I would guess being bilingual would be very useful for this kind of program because you go to the schools and you can speak another language. So knowing 2 languages or 3 languages would be really good for
It
this
would
kind
be
of thing.
very good.
Yeah.
Very good, and especially coming into a school situation where you're a teacher's assistant, having 2 languages is a very good benefit to you.
Oh.
So as you finish this certificate and
Yeah.
start working on your 2-year degree,
Oh.
okay, when you start applying for positions, making sure that on your resume that you state very clearly that you're bilingual and the languages that you speak, so that when they're looking over your resumes, they'll be able to match you up with a good position.
What risk involvement in this job?
What risks are there involved in this job? Probably the biggest risk is injury to your back. And the reason there might be an injury is when you're lifting children. If you're not lifting carefully and bending with your knees, you could strain your back when you're bending over to pick up children. That's probably the biggest risk. That's probably the biggest complaint I hear from my students is they hurt their back today or we're lifting the children. Other than that, you're working with children, so you're sitting on the floor, you're playing with them, you're doing just simple household chores like cleaning the tables or cleaning the toys. So there's really not a lot of risk involved in this one.
Okay. What are the prerequisites for this class?
The only prerequisite is that you take the compass test. And like I said, that you're at least a level, end of level 4, beginning of level 5. So other than that, there are no prereqs for this program. It's called the hybrid program, which is an evening program, and you take some classes during the day, then the rest of your homework you do online, on the computer. Some people like that, some people don't like that, because you're not in class. So some people struggle, some people love it. It just depends on you and your learning style and what is good for you for your learning. So the hybrid classes, if you are you're very busy, you come out Mondays and Wednesday nights from 6 to 9:15, and then the rest of your homework is done online. So this meets the needs of a lot of families, but for some students, they don't like this. It's just, they would rather be in class during the day. Again, it's individual needs and individual preference, whatever works best for you. But it's another option. You have to be very good on the computer. and very self-disciplined to do the hybrid class because you have to work independently to get your homework done and you still have to meet deadlines. Okay. So it's divided up in a way in which you can be successful throughout the quarter. So you'll see it says block 1, which is the Monday night, ECE 101. So you'll do that class for 3 weeks, or 2 weeks, excuse me, 2 weeks, then go in and do the next class for 2 weeks, the next class for 2 weeks, and then the next class. So you don't take all of these all at the same time, you take them individually. So you take one class and then you're done. Then you take another class, then you're done.
It's a lot of homework.
Good question.
Oh my goodness.
I think, yes, there is homework. Is there a lot of homework? That depends on you. Whatever we get done in class, you're done with. If you don't get it done in class, it's it's homework. There is homework to do. All of the tests that you take for this class are take-home tests. You don't have to take your tests in class, which is very nice because I want you to learn the materials so you can take it home and think about it, write about it, look for the answers, think about it some more, write your answers. So it's a take-home test. So we don't have tests in class.
Okay. And how to use computer test?
We don't. You can use the computer to write up your test, but there isn't a computer test. But you take a computer class. We do a lot of work on the computer. A lot of your assignments are typed with the computer. I want you to be able to use those, use your skills on the computer. We do a lot of research. You have to look up information about education, and I'll give you specific assignments to do that. One of the first classes you take when you come into the early childhood program is the Introduction to Technology. We do a very simple class that just helps you to learn the basics of the computer and how we would use them in early childhood education.
How many classes do you have, for example, reading, or for the children? What classes do you have? What classes I need? For example, motriz. Well, in Spanish is psychomotriz or
How many languages, right?
Huh?
How many languages?
No, I need the names, the classes for these courses.
So the names of the classes for this course is on page 5.
5?
So go backwards.
Okay.
Oh, one page back.
5.
There you go.
Number
So
5.
it says the certificate of completion 51 credits up at the top.
Number 5.
There you go. You got it.
Okay.
So it's fall quarter, these are the classes that you would be taking. Winter quarter, I teach all of those classes, you'd be taking all of these.
Oh, okay,
Then
okay.
spring quarter, you will take.
I have a question.
Yes.
What kind of personality do you think fits this kind of job? What do you look for?
Somebody who is enthusiastic, who wants to work with children. You will not be a happy person if you don't want to be with children. You have to really want to be with children. Yeah, it is a good question. You want to enjoy your job of being with children, or it's hard work. It is hard work, and there's some days you don't want to do it. So you have to be willing and wanting to be with the children. Yep. We look for people who are consistent. We want people who are every day coming, every day being where they say they're going to be. Consistency is very important because the children depend on you.
Yes.
They're not groceries at the grocery store. They're children. They need us. There's also state laws that say we need adults in the classroom. So if we don't have consistency with the adults coming every single day, there's a risk we don't have enough teachers and too many children. And that puts a safety risk that happens. We don't have enough teachers, or somebody could get injured because there's too many children and not enough adults. So consistency is a really important one. We also look for professionalism. Okay. not gossiping, solving problems with the people you need to solve problems with, just being honest.
Is necessary the record criminal for to take these classes?
It isn't required to take the class, but it's required to do your internship
Okay.
or your practicum class. All of the centers will require you to have that done before you can do your volunteer work.
Okay.
I try to encourage
Background check?
this- background checks.
Background
Mhm.
Background check.
Yep. So why I encourage you, if you are going to, let's say you wanted to start fall quarter. If you wanted to start fall quarter, then I'd work with you a little bit earlier before the quarter starts to have that done.
Okay.
So that you don't have to wait until it gets cleared in order for you to go to work. And that's a good question, because there's two things that are required to work in the child care center. One is your background check, and the second one is a TB skin test. Do you folks remember those? The tuberculosis skin test? Yep. You have to have a negative tuberculosis test, and it's required by all of, I have to go get mine all the time too, but they require that. So your background check and a TB, what they call a clear TB test, and then you can work with the children.
This class is good for women
Yes,
and
it's okay. It's all right. Bye-bye.
for women and men. This class is good. For
Both? We need lots of men. We don't have enough men. And men are desperately needed in this field because it's pretty much women dominated. There's
Okay.
much more women.
Okay.
But men who are bilingual, who want to work with children, tend to get the jobs before the women do. Because if you have all those characteristics, all of those skills, because there's so few men, they want to put more men into the programs.
Okay.